The app available from the App and Play Store.
Dr. Selva Pankaj, CEO of Regent Group. We are talking about our changing world on Sunrise. And the next thing we're going to talk about is called It's Easier to Win. Now, you do say here that the opposite of courage is not cowardice, but it is actually conformity.
That's right.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
I shall do. So, as it says in life, that there are lots of challenges which comes in our day-to-day life, whether it's work or personal lives, and the decisions that we are making. And what it does is, we know that we want to make a courageous decision about a challenging situation. And when it comes to that point, most of the times the decisions we make, if we don't make the right decision towards that, that's not because we are coward, because we want to please others. And conformity means you're sticking to the norms. You're sticking to, this is what somebody else did last time. We are looking at other people's decisions and other people's actions, and you're trying to sort of do that. They may have made those decisions in a different circumstances to what you are trying to make. So your decisions are so unique. And that's what we are talking in this part, to say, if you want to make a courageous decision, don't conform. Just go and do the right thing. And the right thing is the seed for achievement, which we talked about. The right thing is stick to the principles. When you say the principles, again, I mean, Stephen Covey talks about this, and it's about the law of nature. As long as you stick to that, however hard it is, you'll be fine, because you are not working against the law of nature. A person might think your decision might not be right, but that doesn't really matter, because they are ignorant or they're not understanding it. We should go back to the basics. So that's what we are talking about. So they're not coward, they're conforming.
And you're saying that one should do this even if it means naturally going against the grain or, sticking out like a sore thumb. But if you play by the rules, the laws of nature.
Yeah, not the man-made laws.
Yeah.
The law of the universe and the law of creation and how the world works. If you understand them, and then it all goes back to that creation, it all goes back to the success and the changing world we are saying. So people make decisions to please other people, and then you just simply do that because what's the majority is going to think. Who cares what the majority thinks? If you believe the true leaders who made the decision, if you look at Mahatma Gandhi, when they were doing various things to India, he could have taken a route of non-violence, but he didn't. He believed in him. He kept on saying that let's take the non-violence, and that's what India one day is where they are. And there are lots of other countries who took the violence route. Where are they now? So if you go with, then you'll become a plaything of other people. And as a leader, you can't do that. You got to really we are all in leadership position. And sometimes when you talk leadership, it's not just the senior people. In a family, a mother and father or a parent, they are leaders. And they got to make the decision not to be conforming. Just do the right thing.
Now, you also stress the importance of your environment, your condition. We are conditioned by our environment, right? How does one go about changing that, or rather deriving things from that, so we can be true to ourselves and we can be in a position where we feel confident to do the right thing, not to confirm, or as you're saying, but to do what we really believe in.
Because you can choose. It's your choice. I mean, we are living in an open world. And that's what sometimes living in a country like United Kingdom is great, because you have got your freedom. You can do whatever you like. It is your choice which environment that you want to associate with. And then when you associate with the environment, and then you get accustomed to that, and it's easy, and your paradigm, you're getting programmed with that environment. So that's what we're saying. You're programmed when you were born, because that's genetics. From that day onwards, you're programmed by the environment. Because it's not learning a language. If you are around in a household when you're a child, you can't say, I don't want to learn that language. You learn it. You learn it. And what we are really talking about here is that learning language is a programming. And it's almost like someone being in a household, let's say in a Hindi household, and then they learn Hindi. And suddenly after 25 years, we're saying, you know what? You got to delete that. And that's programming. That's paradigms. And then you could learn a new language But it's imagine whether you can delete what you learned. And that's what we are talking about, changing the world, changing habits. It's almost deleting your programming, because until you delete that, the programming is not going to go away. But it's entrenched like a language. So it's absolutely challenging. That's why 1 or 2% of the world who are the real movers and shakers and creators. But we all can inspire to that.
Yeah, those who've been able to delete what they were programmed to do, and then
they reprogram themselves with what they want to. But the best comparison is learning a language. I was just thinking about how best I can say how difficult it is. It's like learning the language. You can learn another language, but can you forget or can you delete the language that you have learned from childhood?
Now, Selva, let me ask you this. Do we sometimes conform to what is done by the masses, or what is the easy way out, because we believe that we are fairly average, we're like everybody else? Is that the thought process that drives us to not have the courage to stand up and believe in what we truly believe in, but to go with the flow and not to upset the apple cart?
Absolutely. I think it's sticking to the masses, and that's the awareness level I think we talked about on one of the levels. Is sort of, in fact, the mass motivation or the mass awareness levels is right next to animalistic level. So the basic level is your animalistic, you're reacting to everything as a baby. When the baby comes in, it's almost, there's no difference between a baby and an animal. They just haven't had any awareness. And then lots of the next level is the 90% of the population is masses. Why you do things because somebody else did it. Even the same thing, why am I wearing a tie for this? I can without a tie. But I'm still conforming to be wearing a tie and doing certain things. But if I really don't want to wear a tie, I wouldn't. But I don't mind wearing a tie, so I'm wearing it. So it's conformity is the biggest problem or challenge. Problem is the wrong word. It's a challenge. But as long as it is for the right reason, it's okay. You don't need to completely not do things. There are lots of good things this world has got as part of the evolution. So we should do and conform for the right things, not for the wrong things.
And you've worded something very, very beautifully here when you say that we tend to have a mindset which urges us to follow the follower, as it were, right? Is that what it is when you're confirming to somebody else's ideas? Naturally, they're following somebody else's ideas.
That's
and
right.
we think that it's far easier to just kind of fall within the stereotype.
Absolutely. And the best way to say that is, the food that we eat, it's not something we decided. Somebody decided for us maybe 300-400 years ago. My grandparents said that, my great-grandparents said that. We're eating rice or whatever. Why? And then because we are just following somebody else. But again, we've got to be careful, and we should put it into context. There are the good things we are following. Just follow that. And then sometimes you've got to be an intelligent follower. And then don't be just the follower. Because to become a good leader, you got to be first a good follower. And then you follow the right people, the right values, the right things, and then you become a good leader. Then other people will follow you. But be an intelligent follower. Don't just follow because somebody else asks you to follow.
Now, let's talk about the seven levels of awareness, as mentioned in this chapter, which says it's far easier to win than you think, right? And you've listed them as, again, looking at going from 1 to 7, animal, mass, aspiration, individual, discipline, experience, and mastery. Talk us through that, if you will, please.
Sure. So, as I said, the basic level of awareness is your animalistic level, fight or flight, and
would you call it your instinct? Would it be?
Not necessarily.
Or instinct can be honed and changed as well, do you reckon?
So this is the basic level. It is animalistic level. It's sort of, I very much hope there is very little humans in that level, but sadly there is. So it's the basic level of reacting for everything. And that's the basic. And then the mass level, that's the level we're talking about. The majority of the world is. So you're just following, you're doing everything else somebody else doing, because our schools also allows us to do that, isn't it? You wear the same uniform, you wear the same tie. From very young age onwards, you're programmed to be the James and John is the same, and you don't differentiate yourself. So you're just following the masses. The next level is you're in that level, and sometime programs of this nature and research of this nature starts to think, maybe I am slightly different. Maybe I am a bit unique. Why do I need to follow the crowd? Why don't I do what I like to do rather than what somebody else asking me to do it? At that time, you're aspiring for something unique. You're aspiring to do something that you really wanted to do, not that somebody else has wanted to do. At that level, at that time of the awareness, and this is such a natural and a slow process, you see your individuality. And you see, I am not like this. Even, what has happened in the UK in the last 10 to 15 years, accepting the gay marriages and all of that is towards allowing people to say that, yes, they are individual. Why can't they do what they like? So when they're coming into that individuality, and then you're trying to aspire to something, and then we talk about discipline at that point. And the discipline we talk about is not the discipline what, personally I was in a Catholic school, and the discipline that we had, to tuck the shirts and put the ties on, and
everything has to be just so.
Absolutely. And then that's not the discipline I'm talking about. And someone said, one could argue whether that is discipline or punishment. But the discipline that we are talking about is so important that the listeners should understand that we give ourselves a command and we follow it. That's the discipline we are talking about. Not somebody else has gave us a command and we are following it. We give our command and we are following it. And you're in that space, you are moving into mastery, that we call it. So that's where your awareness is right on the top. And it's nicely says, when you are, it's like a pyramid. When you go up, it's so lovely because there's only few people there. It's less crowded, a lot more opportunities, the air is fresh. But it's also important, a different level of activities, different level of actions, you may still go back to your animalistic level or your mastery. For example, let's say you're running a company, everything is going very well, you're growing well, your maintenance guy comes and says, something gone wrong onto a floor plate or a light or whatever. It's not a big thing, and you respond, no problem, sort that out. But let's say the company is going through a very difficult time, they've lost a big contract and there's 80% of it. Maybe depending on the awareness level, humans might respond differently or identify differently. And let's say a mother loses a child in an accident. Will they respond? Will they react? So it's easy to someone sit and talk about here, or you got to be on the mastery, but it all depends on circumstances as well. So therefore it's a continuum. It's not one, it is millions of activities. So each activity we can plot ourselves, are we on level 7 or level 1, and it's changing. So it's such an internal journey.
Now let's talk about inductive and deductive reasoning.
That's right.
That you talk about. How would you define inductive and deductive reasoning?
Yeah, as I said, inductive reasoning is, you think of something from specific to general, and then we talk about general to specific, broadly speaking, the differences. But more importantly, the inductive and deductive reasoning in the context of the mind and the conscious and the subconscious mind we talk about the inductive reasoning has an ability to say yes or no. I don't want to take that, and I want to take that. And that's linked to your conscious mind. Remember we talked about the stick person previously, and where Truman Fleet drew that mind. And that's not the mind, but we just draw something to explain. So what we're really saying is, if you're in the conscious mind, you have a choice. If an idea comes to you, you say, you know what, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But once you have entertained that idea, and once it's slipping into your subconscious mind,
you don't have a choice anymore.
You don't have a choice. That's it's deductive, and it'll take it as it's real. And at that time, nothing you can do about it. Once it slips into your subconscious mind, the body will react automatically. You can't stop it. And I'm sure as humans we can think about various examples in our life. Stimulus is various things happens in life. The trick is don't allow that to slip.
I was just going to say that we must therefore, I suppose, allow only the right kind of thoughts to slip into our subconscious mind.
Correct.
Because once they're there, there's nothing you can do because you're just going to react to it, right?
You will. Your body will get into action. And then the only other way then to solve the problem is you got to remove the same way it was planted.
Mm.
And that's the only way. And that little slipping into it's like the language. So it's gone into that subconscious mind. You learn a word in Hindi, shall we say, and then how do I now erase that?
Yeah.
And then the only way to erase that is it's a challenge, and you can only do one at a time, they call it. So you replace with another thing, but it'll take time to erase that. It'll still there. It's sort of lurking in the middle. But the new idea is on your forefront, but it hasn't gone away. But you are in true freedom when you don't know what that word is. So it's pretty challenging.
Now, Selva, again, most of the things that we discuss here, if you think about it independently, they all make perfect sense. They sit together beautifully. And yet, to really think about them carefully, one idea at a time, and see how each of those ideas, they affect the way we behave, the way we live, the outcome, the effort that we put in, everything. This is what this program does so beautifully. It kind of structures it for us to be able to see for ourselves, why our lives pan out the way they do, why certain individuals stand out, they become natural leaders, all of that. Yeah. You say how it's very important for us to be objective about our own skills. Yeah. Is that about being self-critical?
That's right. So it's about constantly reevaluating every day. So we go back to previously we talked about every day is made out of every activity. Then each activity is made out of each action. So I think it's quite nice to sort of reflect upon. We talked about in leadership and management, and you say, look, why did I do that way? Can I do it in a different way? And also allow you not to slip into your subconscious. We will make mistakes as human beings. So when you're in that sort of inductive reasoning, lots of people, lots of things is coming. It's like they say we are in a sort of a motorway. Lots of information is coming through the senses. We hear, smell, taste, touch, people telling you that, but you have a choice then to say, you know what? I'm just going to keep that well away from myself. And when you are reflecting, then you don't take it forward. It's easy to erase when it's on your conscious mind. And you can easily do that. So that's what we are talking about.
So to sum it up, as you say, that it's far easier to win if only we follow the rules.
100%. And that when we say the rules, it's the laws of nature. We are not talking about here the man-made laws. Yes, we must respect the laws of the country, and that's why this country is one of the best countries to live in and do things. Those are absolutely important. But if you really want to win, you need to understand what's the law of nature. If you don't know, how do you respect the law? So first you need to understand what the laws are, which we talked about, and the fundamental laws is the cause and effect, and the boomerang we talked about, or we talked about the physics, which is action reaction. Once you master that, you have an understanding, and you just work around that. And then if you don't respect it, you will pay the price. And if you do respect it, you'll pay the price. And if you just completely neutral, it's so interesting, nothing happens. They say you tiptoe, and you die.
Download the app from the App and Play Store.